Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our Lively You Virtual Learning Academies program entitled Taking Care of Your Skin. Today we have Dr. Joe King presenting from McLaren St. Luke's Family Medicine Residency. Please welcome him.
Hello, good morning, everyone. Like I was introduced, my name is Dr. King. I'm one of the family medicine residents over at the McLaren St. Luke's office over in Perrysburg. So I wanted to talk a little bit this morning, kind of just general skin care. Some of this is more information for when it kind of gets warmer out and getting more sun exposure to your skin, but I also like to kind of just go a little off track and talk a little bit about dry skin since we're heading into the winter months. So thanks for everyone for joining this morning, and it'll be nice and short, and we'll have a little Q&A session afterwards. So take notes if you have any questions along the way. So I like to start off by just kind of doing a little intro to skin. Everyone knows, you know, the importance of skin and how important it is to take care of your skin. You know, it is the largest organ in your body. You know, prevents anything from getting in and out. And the biggest thing that we, you know, worry about are skin lesions, you know, things to track as life is going on. So obviously the function, you know, it provides protection against, you know, cold, heat, sun, you know, rain, things like that. And it also kind of helps your bones stay strong because it is very important in absorbing the vitamin D from the sun. So it's important for bone growth. A lot of people don't think about that. And as we age, you know, how your skin is composed and how it the structure is changes, you know, dramatically from, you know, when you're just a kid to, you know, starting to get into more of the quote unquote geriatric age. So it tends to get thinner. You lose some of the collagen of the skin. So it's easier to injure, easier to tear. It is easier to get sunburnt as you get older, easier to dry out as well. So as we age, it gets more and more important to, you know, be very aware of your skin and being aware of the weather outside and just making sure you take care of your skin because it's very, very important. And then, you know, the biggest things that I get in the office are, you know, people want me to look at moles, you know, is this a mole? Is this cancerous? So we'll talk a little bit more about that and kind of, you know, age spots, things like that, and dry skin. So kind of go off of that, you know, the biggest common conditions that I get in the office are the moles and the skin lesions that people are, you know, worried about. They've seen it. Maybe they saw it for the first time, or they've been watching it and they think it might be changing. So that's the most common thing that, you know, that I see. Other ones are, as we age, we kind of get this thing called Subarray Keratosis. Sometimes you can get those, you know, a lot of times on your back. They're usually kind of like dry and scaly. Sometimes they appear wet, depending on the certain type of them. And then you can also get, you know, seborrheic dermatitis, or you can get those keratotic lesions also on your scalp if you have been fortunate enough to lose your hair, or if you have thinning hair as well, you can kind of get those on your scalp as well. Obviously, the big one is skin cancer, you know, melanoma, those kind of lesions. Those are the biggest things to worry about. And I'll kind of touch a little bit more on that as well. And then the biggest one, what everyone's probably experiencing, you know, nowadays, is the dry skin. All of the gas heaters have been turned on in the homes because it's finally deciding, I think, to be winter in the Toledo, Bowling Green area. So the biggest thing is having dry skin and, you know, dry, itchy throats, things like that, dry eyes. So the biggest thing with having dry skin is, if I could give you a little bit of just tips to prevent it. When you're showering, you want to avoid really hot scalding showers. It feels nice because if your home is, kind of chill, if you keep it, kind of low temperatures in your house, it's really nice to have a real nice hot shower in the morning to kind of get you woke up. So if you can try to just go for more of a lukewarm or just a warm bath or shower, that's going to help prevent your skin from getting dried out. It's kind of damaging that skin because it's already dry, so it just makes it worse. And as well, you can see on the notes here, as far as the long baths and, certain soaps you want to be, aware of as well. The next thing that whenever a lot of this is going around showering and cleaning yourself, the next thing that you want to be trying to avoid is really when you're drying your skin after the shower or bath, you want to be patting your skin dry instead of rubbing the towel back and forth on your skin. Patting dry is going to kind of keep that moisture, staying in your skin. And instead of when you rub it, it'll kind of like pull that moisture out of your skin, and it actually irritates the skin more. So you're more likely to get drier skin if you're rubbing with a towel versus patting dry after showers. And then after that, it's important to, as soon as you get out of the shower, once you're kind of patted dry, to apply just a general moisturizer to your areas that are dry. Obviously arms, hands, knuckles are the big culprits during the winter times, and then obviously face. There are some lotions. I don't have any stock in this. This is just a general, lotion moisturizer that I recommend, and other docs in our office recommend, is the Cerave. General, it's kind of in a tub. Or you can get the ones in the bottles. That's kind of good. You can typically use those for your face and your skin. So that's just a general all-around, all-purpose moisturizer that physicians typically recommend. Dermatologists usually recommend that brand as well. So if you're looking for something when you're going to the grocery next, then that's one that I would recommend. Although most moisturizers and lotions would be just fine. But if you're going for facial moisturization, then you got to be looking for more specific ones if you're not going to go the CeraVe route. So it's important to moisturize immediately after you get out of the shower, before your skin gets real exposed to that dry heat that's going to dry it out even more. So if you can kind of get into that habit of doing that regimen during the wintertime, it's going to really help you with if you have dry skin. So that's my little blurb on that. So if you have any questions about that, we can talk about that a little bit later. Obviously, the other things you want to be looking out for, especially during winter times, is, as your skin ages over time, and with this dry weather, it's easy for your skin to get cracked, bleeding, things like that. But these are often times where your skin's not exposed in your homes as much. You're kind of bundled up in the home sometimes, so you're not really monitoring some of the lesions on your skin as much. If you have a lesion, you're not really looking and tracking that as much because you're covered in your clothes more during the winter time. So it's always important to keep being diligent with that. If you have a lesion that you've seen your doctor for, or you're kind of on the borderline of wanting to get it checked out, it's always good to get it checked out just in case. But just make sure you keep checking on those over the winter times. And then obviously if you have sores, you're having bleeding, things like that from cracked, dry skin, and it won't heal, then, the first thing you think of people with, diabetes, things like that. So it's extra important for those individuals because it kind of takes a little bit longer for lesions to heal if your diabetes isn't real well isn't under control. But obviously, if you haven't had a diagnosis of diabetes, if you're having sores that aren't healing, these are things that you want to be aware of. If it's taking weeks and weeks and weeks for just a tiny little lesion to heal, then that's something to kind of keep in the back of your head that you might want to bring up to your doctor at your next visit. So, and then kind of moving on to, what can you do? Like I keep alluding to, as we get older, our bodies, we only have one body, one life here. So when your skin kind of gets older and ages, your body starts to age in general. The one thing you can prevent that process from being expedited is to stop smoking if you are a smoker. Smoking does progress that process of skin aging more quickly than if you were not smoking. So that's one thing that you can always, if you need another reason to stop smoking, then that's another one for you. So the next thing I wanted to talk about is if you have a lesion, or these is a kind of quick ABCDE of what to go by whenever you see a lesion and you're kind of tracking it and monitoring it. You've maybe brought up to your doctor, and these are maybe some of you know about this little saying here to try to remember things, but A stands for asymmetry. So basically you want to, if you have a lesion that's, kind of jagged all around, or it's not like a nice circle. A lot of times moles are just a nice little circle. But if it's, asymmetric on either side, then that's something to be aware about and bring up to your doctor. And kind of going along that, borders that are edged, blurred, jagged, things like that. That kind of goes with asymmetry. But the asymmetry, obviously, it's not uniform all the way around. If it's kind of jaggedy all the way around, it could be still a mole. But these are some nice details here for you. And then as far as the color goes, if you have any kind of variations in the color of the lesion that you're concerned about, kind of goes along with the asymmetry too. If it's kind of different colors around it, it's not just completely black like a typical mole would be, then that's something that you want to be aware of. And then obviously the size of it. If it's bigger than the size of a pencil eraser, that is a easy visualized, size of something. If it's bigger than that, then you want to be getting that checked out. And then E stands for evolving lesion. So if that lesion is changing, you brought it up to your doctor and we said, well, we'll check in on it maybe about 6 months or so. And you're checking it and it's like, okay, well, it is kind of progressing more than what I thought. It looks kind of bigger or changing color, or the edges are changing. That's something that you want to, maybe if you're planning on seeing them in 6 months, maybe you want to call and be like, okay, things are definitely changing. Maybe I need to be seen sooner than what we initially thought. So, and kind of going off of that, you have the notes here, report any changes in your moles or any other of the lesions that you have, to your doctor, give them a call. It's always good to be seen, to track these, because it's something that easily can be taken care of and we don't want to wait till it gets, out of control. And then this little blurb I kind of have here is more for the opposite time of the year, whenever it's starting to get warm outside and people are out in the sun. But, it is still important, on the days that are real sunny in the winter time, maybe it's, 40, 45 degrees outside, nice and sunny, it feels good, but you're going to be outside for extended periods of time without, layers on. It's still important to wear, kind of some kind of sunscreen on your face and your neck, things like that. So I know it's easy to forget about whenever it's cold outside, but just a friendly reminder to the sun is still shining, even if it's cold, you can still get injury to your skin when it's cold out. So it kind of seems a little silly, but it's still important. You can still get that exposure. So that's kind of really in general what I had planned to talk about today. It's kind of nice, short and sweet. But does anyone have any questions about, dry skin or sun exposure during the winter time, or just any general questions, regarding their skin or things that they've been dealing with?
Sure. I'll go ahead and stop the recording and then allow individuals to share questions.
Okay.